Okay, take two. Hello, welcome once again to Stuff and Things, where I like to talk about stuff and occasionally even things. I'm your good friend Bradley, and today is a Sunday Stuff and Things. And on this Sunday Stuff and Things, we're going to try this for the second time. I was out here yesterday, recorded the entire Sunday Stuff and Things episode, but it was very, 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 very windy. And when I got home and started editing the video, I found that the audio was almost entirely unusable. And I decided I better come back out. And now look at this. It is gorgeous. It is, I don't know, probably only 45 degrees right now, but it's supposedly going to get close to 60 degrees today, which has not happened yet this year, I don't think. It is sunny. It is not windy. The wind. There is always wind. All winter long, basically, in Bellingham, Washington, there is always wind. And I think this is the first day I can remember for months where there has not been, I mean, I'm being hyperbolic and exaggerating a little bit. It's not always a gale force wind, but it's the kind of thing where, you know, if I have my paper or my list of questions or something, it's blowing all over the place. If I try to put something down, it's going to blow away. I have to put rocks on things to keep them from going. It's nice and calm. The sea is calm. There aren't crazy breakers crashing up against this rock wall that's here, the shore break. So this is nice. I'm excited, and I don't really mind having to re-record this episode. I'm going to try to pretend that I never did it to begin with and just speak extemporaneously. So on this Sunday Stuff and Things, we have stuff and things to talk about, including upcoming videos, things you can look forward to on Stuff and Things YouTube and Stuff and Things Patreon. I'm going to talk about my new old Leica lens. I don't want to talk too much about it because we have 2 episodes coming up. We'll get into this when we talk about upcoming videos, but there's going to be a box opening for this lens that I was able to get. It was a vintage Leica lens, my very first Leica lens. And I have done 2 rolls of Kodak Tri-X film using the new lens. And I just want to talk a little bit about what my expectations were and what my thoughts have been seeing the pictures that I've been able to get with this new Leica lens. We will have your questions, comments, and feedback in hashtag askstuffandthings. And then we will, of course, end the show with our Patreon shout-outs and updates. Let's get into it. I'm actually warm right now. It's kind of crazy. I can't remember the last time I've been warm. Went outside. All right, so what can you look forward to on Stuff and Things YouTube and Stuff and Things Patreon? Well, this coming week, we have the video that I just mentioned. I can't remember exactly what I titled this, but in my notes I finally got a Leica lens for my M4, and it's vintage, and it's a box opening video where basically I wasn't sure what condition the lens was going to be in because I paid very little for it, and it was listed in kind of fair condition, and the pictures on the website where I got it were not the most helpful as far as determining the condition of the lens. And it even said something in the description of the lens that there was moisture in the optics inside the lens. And so I was kind of worried, wasn't sure how it was going to be. So this box opening is me just kind of taking a look at the lens, talking about why I decided to purchase it and everything. Very fascinating. It's a very old lens from 1957. The week after that, exclusive to Patreon, we will have the Cornell & Diehl Sunset Harbor Flake full review. I did the first impressions video a couple weeks ago and was quite intrigued by the blend. It is not what you would expect from a Balkan forward English blend because, am I remembering this correctly? It does not have all the components you would think would be in an English blend. So if you haven't checked out that first impressions video, if you're not a Patreon supporter, $5 a month, you can get in on Patreon, check that video out, and then the full review coming up the week, not this week, but the week after, exclusive to Patreon. And then after that, we're gonna do a video on the first 2 rolls with my new old vintage Leica lens. Just taking a look at what I've been able to capture, a different focal length. I'm usually using a 35mm on my Leica. This is a 50mm. So a lot of cool pictures. Well, that's me saying it, but a lot of pictures that I was happy with, and I was really happy with the rendering of the lens. So we'll take a look at that. But lots more good stuff coming up with photography, with pipe stuff, exclusive to Patreon. Photography stuff goes on both. So stay tuned. Every time I record out here, I come earlier in the morning hoping that I'm not going to be inundated with all sorts of people wandering around. But every time I'll be mid-conversation or mid-sentence or something, and I feel eyes on me, and I look behind me, and there will just be a couple people just standing, watching me, just watching me talk to a camera. And they don't say anything. They don't really acknowledge me. They just stand there and watch me talk. It's kind of weird. Anyway, I want to talk about the lens that I was able to get for my Leica M4. Here is my Leica M4, a camera that I love and that I've been using since June of last year. And when I got this camera, the only lens I had for it was a Voigtlander or Voigtlander 35mm Ultron f2 lens. Really nice lens, brass construction, enameled brass, had a nice focus tab on it, really well built, and in my opinion, just from, I've done, 40 rolls or so on this Leica, a very well-performing lens, a good performing lens, nice and sharp, minimal distortion, nice rendering, just a good lens, a really nice lens, and very, very inexpensive compared to an equivalent Leica lens. But when I was looking for I wanted to get a 50mm lens for my Leica because I wanted something that would be a little bit better for portraiture and just also to have more choices when I was doing, if I was walking around and I saw a scene, I thought, maybe a 50 would be better for this. Just having a little bit more options for photography. And I was looking at getting a Voigtlander 50mm lens. There was I think it's the Nocton. It was either the 1.4 or the 1.5, I can't remember. And that lens was around $800 were the prices I was finding online. And that lens, unlike the 35mm Ultron, was not brass bodied. Now, I don't necessarily care if it's brass or not. I kind of like the idea of brass, but I think it was aluminum. Still, by all accounts, a really nice lens, but very modern rendering, very sharp, very precise. And I started thinking about it. I was like, okay, I could get this. I had money that I had put away in my camera account and then also had leftover money from my tax account and my tax return or my refund. And I thought, it's time to get a 50. But as I started researching it, I realized, maybe I don't want a super modern lens. This camera is 55 years old, 56 years old now. And maybe I want a lens that has more what people call vintage rendering. And so I started looking around, and I didn't think it was even possible for me to get a Leica lens because even the older vintage lenses always seem to be so expensive. But I was researching 50mm, and I found this. This is a Leica 50mm Summicron, so an f2 lens. And they call this the Rigid. Leica doesn't, but people online call it the Rigid because it was the first non-collapsible version of the 50mm Summicron. This particular lens was made from 1956 to 1968. This is a very early version of it. And it is all brass construction, chromed brass. This lens, my particular copy, was made in 1957. So one of the very early ones. It's 69 years old. And I was able to find it for the same price as the brand new Voigtlander 50mm, I think 1.4, 1.5, I can't remember. And I thought, I might as well get this one. This was on mpb.com. It's a used camera gear site. And again, I couldn't really tell what kind of condition it was in, but I got it. It seemed fine. Took a look inside with the flashlight, seemed fine. And now I've gotten 2 rolls back from it. And I'm really happy. I'm really happy with how it looks. So you'll have to stay tuned for the video I'm doing on just going over the pictures I've gotten in those 2 rolls with this lens. But I have to say, you do notice a difference compared to modern lenses. It is definitely less contrasty than modern lenses. And it just kind of has this smooth, buttery tonality to it where out of focus areas look like velvet in the frame. And there's so much detail. It's way sharper than I thought it was going to be. I thought this would be kind of a softer lens because of its age. But, I'm mostly shooting from f6 to f11, and it's very, very sharp in those apertures. I would say it even rivals the Voigtlander. It might even exceed the Voigtlander as far as sharpness. And I haven't really shot anything at f2, so I should experiment a little bit with that because I'm assuming it's going to soften up a little bit there. But it's so sharp, it's so detailed, but it has this less contrasty look, and there is just so much tonal range. Every shade that you can imagine from black to white is represented in these pictures, and I just love it. I think it looks absolutely fantastic, and I'm really thrilled with this. Ergonomically, I love it too. It's heavier than the Voigtlander. I can't remember the actual measurements now, but I think the entire camera with the lens and the hood is over 2 pounds now. So this is a hefty, dense little package here. The lens itself, if you pick it up, it just feels like a tank. It's built like a tank. The focus throw is super smooth. The dampening is perfect on it. I absolutely love how it feels. I even like this little nub here. There is a infinity lock. So when you go to infinity, it locks the lens, but it's no big deal. You just press in this little nub right here and it unlocks it. And I found it super comfortable just to use my thumb and index finger to focus this lens. And then if I do go over to infinity, no big deal to get it out. Aperture ring is nice and clicky. It's maybe not quite as firmly positive in the clicks as my Voigtlander is. And there are no half stops, but you could stop it at a half stop if you want. But yeah, I'm thrilled with this lens. The fact that it's 69 years old and it works as well as it does, the rendering that it gives, it makes me want more vintage lenses for this. I was looking into the original Summicron 35 millimeter. So I was like, oh, if the 50 was so cheap, maybe I can get the 35. No, it's way more expensive. It's thousands of dollars. So this might be the only Leica lens that I'm ever able to get for my Leica camera. There are some 90s that are relatively inexpensive, like a 90 millimeters. So I might look into that at some point, but I just don't know how useful a 90 would be for this or how much use I would get out of it. But super thrilled with this 50 millimeter Summicron rigid from 1957 for my Leica M4. Check out the box opening video that's going to be coming up this week. And then in 2 or 3 weeks' time, we will have the video where I go over the 2 rolls that I've taken so far with my Leica 50 millimeter Summicron F2 rigid. Good stuff. All right, gang, but now it is time for hashtag #AskStuffandThings. Remember, if you have a question for me and you would like it answered on the Sunday Stuff and Things, you can tweet at SAT Bradley with the hashtag #AskStuffandThings, but you probably shouldn't because nobody does, and I never read Twitter/X anyway. If you are a Patreon supporter, you can write to me via Patreon and go right to the front of the line. You can hit that super thanks button under this video and go right to the front of the line, or you can leave questions, comments, and feedback in the comment section of my YouTube videos. We have some feedback from last week's Sunday Stuff and Things. This is from our good friend Megan, who says, so I had recommended Spy Family as a very, I don't even know how to describe this to people who don't like anime or think anime is stupid, but it's funny, it's poignant, there's some action, it's sweet, it's charming, it's clever, it's just such a good show, Spy Family, so I recommended it. Megan says, when Spy Family was new, I had young elementary school students who were into this show. And yeah, I noticed, because I've been looking stuff up on YouTube or whatever about Spy Family, I noticed there are all these videos posted of a stage production of Spy Family in Japan where, you know, as Japanese actors, they're portraying, in the show, people are supposed to be European in the show, but they're being portrayed by Japanese people in the show. And it's like a musical live stage version of Spy Family. So I guess it must have been pretty popular in Japan. She continues, kids are growing up too fast. Some of my kids now know about Skibidi Toilet, Italian Brain Rot, and 6-7. We need to get them off the screens. I have heard the phrase or term Skibidi Toilet. I have no idea what the hell that is. Italian brain rot, I don't know. I've heard the term brain rot. I have not had Italian and brain rot combined together. I don't know what that means. I do unfortunately know what 6-7 is. I think it's the stupidest meme I've ever heard. On a separate note, I had some pleasant interactions during Hanami this weekend. So Hanami is the flower viewing in Japan, cherry blossoms. We're expecting it to rain this week, so I don't anticipate the cherry blossoms to last much longer. Do you have cherry blossoms in Bellingham? We do. We actually have a lot of cherry trees in Bellingham. They're not native, I don't think. I don't know. I'm assuming cherries are native to the old world. But there are lots planted around here, and they are in full bloom right now. It's very beautiful. I mean, it doesn't rival some of the crazy places in Japan where they just have acres of cherries, but we have a lot. At Les Brady says, dude, I hope you got some of that chili. Beef tongue is some good eating. So I was talking about that encounter I had with the guy who was cooking chili and beef tongue in his van. And we had like a 20-minute conversation, and I saw him again once he had finished cooking his chili and beef tongue. I did not sample the beef tongue. He offered some to me, and he was kind of disappointed that I didn't want any, but the conditions under which it was being prepared, did not seem as though they would pass a health department inspection. We'll just leave it there. At Ortsy Landa says, the Henri Cartier-Bresson, so he says the Henri Cartier-Bresson, has recently re-edited the book Les Européens. HCB is dead, so I'm assuming he means his estate, has recently re-edited the book Les Européens with its original, I don't know why I'm pronouncing it that way, with its original cover from Joan Miro. I bought it a couple weeks ago for 42 euros, but I'm not sure if it is available in the USA. Regarding the interactions when shooting pictures, it's a nice way to jump out of the automatic pilot we all live in and be more present in the moment, a way of mindfulness. Yeah, I have seen that European version of the Europeans. I think that book originally came out in the 50s, and I know the cover you're talking about, and I have seen the European version online, but I think I looked a while ago, and there was not, as of yet, an American printing of it. I don't know, I'm not sure what language this one is. I'm assuming it's in French, the European version, so I would like to get that book at some point, but I do have a really giant volume that's kind of a retrospective of Cartier-Bresson's entire career, so that was nice. That's one that I talked about in that video I did a while ago about photo books that are currently available that you can buy on Amazon. Oh yeah, and then as far as regarding the interactions when shooting pictures, yeah, to me, that's kind of what photography gives me, especially walking around and doing, street/documentary, whatever kind of photography. I hate all those labels. But you're paying attention and you're looking at people and you're looking at the world around you and noticing light and noticing interactions, and you will have interactions with people because you're just kind of more open to being present in the world. It's nice. At Leland Fitz says, regarding photographing homeless people, for me, there is an issue because those people do not have a home. With anyone else, you can justify photographing them by saying, just go home if you don't want to be photographed. And those people actually only are outside with intent and purpose. They go somewhere, they have a destination or the area, or the are outside to work. Or I'm assuming, or they are outside to work, etc. Homeless people just don't have that option, at least when it comes to where they stay and try to sleep and have peace. That's a good point, and it's definitely something I consider. I don't walk around looking to take pictures of homeless people. I think there is a line that you can cross where it becomes condescending or weird, or I don't know. I'm not going to walk around peering in alleys and trying to take pictures of people sleeping behind a dumpster or something. That doesn't sit well with me. But I also think that, homeless people are people, and I take pictures of people. And if there is something happening that is interesting and it happens to have a homeless person involved in the scene, I'm not going to say, oh, I definitely can't take this picture. Again, it's kind of a case-by-case basis. A lot of the times people in my pictures are sort of, it sounds weird to say, but like props for the picture. Like they're adding interest to the frame and not necessarily the main point of the picture, if that makes any sense. And so, it's a case-by-case basis. It's what feels okay to you, I guess. And, I'm definitely not the most confrontational photographer. I'm not shoving my camera in people's faces and things like that. And so I'm trying to be more respectful, and I don't know. So far, I haven't taken any pictures where I've looked later and was like, ugh, like I felt gross about it or anything. And I guess that's kind of what my deciding line would be. Like, do I feel gross that this picture exists? And if I did, I would probably get rid of it. But so far, it's been fine. And then we have a little bit of feedback from the Cornell and Deal Sunset Harbor Flake First Impressions video. Herminator says, yes, Cornell and Deal has a blend for everyone. They certainly do. I kind of feel like they spread themselves a little thin, maybe. They have so many blends, and they do all the GLP's blends, and GLP's has dozens and dozens of blends. I don't know. I think they're doing fine, but maybe dial it back a little bit. But I don't know. I enjoy the fact that there are so many blends and, like you said, a blend for everyone. So thanks for all that feedback. Please keep it coming in. It really helps make the show go. This is crazy. I am warm. I've got my little faux fur collar on here, and it's actually a little too warm. All right, gang, but now it is time for the very best part of the show, and that is where we thank our Patreon supporters. Remember, if you would like to support Stuff and Things on Patreon, there's a link in the description box below, and it is much appreciated. In these uncertain times on YouTube, Patreon is pretty much the only way I have any revenue generated from the videos that I post online, and it's super important and appreciated. It helps me keep making these videos. So if you like anything that I post on YouTube, and if you are interested in seeing those videos early and ad-free, $5 a month gets you in on Patreon. If you liked the stuff I used to post on YouTube that had to do with the pipe hobby, which I can no longer post on YouTube and which now has to go on Patreon, $5 a month gets you in and you get access to those videos that are exclusive to Patreon. And also every week I post a video from the archive. The old pipe blend reviews that used to be on YouTube are now being transferred over to Patreon. Every Thursday, you get a new one of those as well. So we love to thank the people who support us on Patreon, and especially those who support us at $25 or more a month. The producers of Stuff and Things, people like Jason Buckner, Arcturus, Ashes of the Phoenix, The Friendly Piper, GreatGrol, Glenn, Just Glenn, David Severin, Nicholas James, Kyle Whitmore, Mr. Gibson, Chris Caughey, and Ryan McFadin. And of course, the Maniacs, the crazy people who support Stuff and Things at $100 a month. People like the stolid and dependable Bob Magee. And we'll never forget our dearly departed friend and Hall of Fame member, Peter Straub. More people are staring at me. Gang, what can you look forward to exclusively on Patreon this coming week? Well, Monday, we will have the early ad-free access to the Leica 50mm Summicron rigid unboxing. And then on Thursday, from the archives, we will have Dunhill, the old sign, or as some people like to say, ye olde sign. So this review was from December 15th, 2016. I'm trying to remember, did I ever have any more tins of this blend? I think I remember liking it. I'll have to watch this video before I post it on Thursday, but I remember it being interesting. I remember it being maybe not my favorite of the at that time available Dunhill blends, but one that was intriguing. So check that video out for sure. Lots more good stuff coming up on Stuff and Things YouTube and Stuff and Things Patreon. I'm gonna enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. I have to edit this video and do some more kind of administrative things, but after that, I've pretty much done all my chores that I need to do for this weekend. And so I'm gonna get out in the sun and I'm going to enjoy it. I hope you're able to do the same, but until next time, until we meet again, I'm your good friend Bradley. You've been the audience. This has been Stuff and Things on a Sunday Stuff and Things. I'll see you later.